Paul Warne faces an away dilemma, and here is why. Derby County are yet to win on the road in a competitive setting this season, and we spoke about this a few times on the channel, but it's really disappointing to see that this streak is continuing. Now, there's a lot of context behind Derby County's performances away from home. Obviously, the opening day was a very shocking defeat to Blackburn, and realistically, we've competed with every team we've faced away from home. But the big problem for Paul Warne is that he needs to secure that first point away from home, and Derby County need to find a way to pick up points on the road. Now, Derby County at the moment are sitting in a really nice mid-table position with 12 points in this league campaign. All of those points coming in home matches and home victories. Derby County are bound to secure a point somewhere, but where are they going to secure it? If you want to find out, make sure you stay tuned till the rest of this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell as well. We're pushing to try and hit 1,350 subscribers on this channel. We post daily Derby County content, and we've got other channels as well, so check them out in the description down below. So let's get back to Derby County and their away dilemma. Now, for me, I think Derby County have faced some really good teams on the road so far this season. The likes of Blackburn, Watford, Sheffield United and Sunderland. They've all been really good teams so far in this campaign, all pushing for those playoff positions right now. But if you talk about the one game which was the most shocking defeat of them all, it was the Barrow away game where we drew the game in 90 minutes and lost on penalties. But just felt that we were never really creating anything special in that game. I never really felt as if we were going to score. And if you go through all of Derby County's away games, I think in the Blackburn game, I think for the large majority of the game, we were well in the game, but a 15-minute spell put Blackburn essentially 4-1 up, and it put Derby in a really precarious position. And I thought we've been really good on the road in a sense of performances between both boxes, but in the opposition box we've been really disappointed. I think the Watford game, I think the positioning was all off, which gave them obviously their second goal. I think if you talk about the Sheffield United game, we gave away some sloppy fouls, one of which probably wasn't a foul, but is the one which determined the result of the game. Now, obviously, Derby County will be pushing to try and figure out what they can do on the road. They've obviously tried a different formation versus Sunderland, where we played a 3-4-3 formation. I don't necessarily think that it didn't work. I just think it was the wrong players in certain positions. I think you needed a bit of a speedster in that front three, which we didn't really have. And if you're going to play a 3-4-3 and sit a little bit deeper, you probably need a bit more of a physical presence up there as well. So, and they're not necessarily physical presence wise. I don't necessarily think we have one at Derby County. Yes, you've got James Collins, but I don't think he can do the other work necessary of that position. I think obviously for the wide players, you could obviously have like a Tom Barkhuizen, a Mendes Langer, Kane Wilson, a Caden Jackson, all in those forward positions. A Corey Blackett-Taylor even could play in those roles, but ultimately we went with Harnish, Chiwa and Yates, and I don't necessarily think the front three had the pace. I thought Kane Wilson was really good on the night. I thought Ben Osborne was fairly decent on the night, but I just think we lacked a bit of pace and speed in that final third. Now, obviously, yes, we've lost 5 of 5 on the road. Has there been positives in the performances? I still think so. I obviously don't think we've been good enough on the road, but I think we've faced obviously difficult teams. And I think heading into this next run, I think it's 4 of the next 6 heading into the international break are away from home. We go to Millwall first in just over a week's time, and that's going to be. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell down below to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County content. We do also do EFL content on another channel, as well as Formula 1 content as well. They'll be going across on the ticker. Make sure you go and check them out, and I'll catch you in the next part of this video. It's going to be a really interesting one. We're in similar positions in the league table. I believe we've also got to face Stoke City on the road and things like that. So it is going to be a very interesting run for Derby County this next run, because this is really a period where we've got to start picking up points on the road. In my opinion, with 38 points away from survival at this point of the season, which I think is really good. 38 points with we've got 37 games left to play. I think we're in a really good position, and I do think we're probably going to be safe, but if we can't start picking up points on the road, it's going to be a real difficult one. Now, Obviously, Paul Warne will be looking at different things, and obviously the return of David Ozo is one which is going to be discussed massively. We're going to have a sole video on that before we head into the Millwall game, but I do believe he can have a massive impact in what Derby County do on the road. Now, we've obviously seen Ibu Adams and Kenzo Holdmine sit in those two holding positions. We've seen Ben Osborne play a couple of times in there as well. But I do think we're missing something in that midfield, and I think it's having a bit of bite with a bit of creativity, and I think David Ozo provided that for Derby County. I think that's something which Derby County need to look for in the January transfer window. We're going to have a January transfer video out as well over the course of the next couple of weeks, and we'll probably look at it again in November. But it's one of those for me where Derby County are getting themselves into some really good positions on the road, and we're playing really well between the boxes. We're getting ourselves into good positions on the edge of the box, but we just can't create real top quality opportunities. Obviously, Tawanda Chiwa had a really good one against Sunderland, which if it had took that opportunity, it may have been a different game. It also may not have been. I think Sunderland probably would have won that game anyway, and I didn't expect to come away with anything from that game. But obviously, the Sheffield United game, you'd probably argue we should have taken a point. The Watford game, you can probably argue we should have taken a point. And it's obviously the ones in between. The Blackburn game, I think, were really disappointing for obviously that 20-minute spell, which I think spoke volumes for the rest of the performance. And I think it was a real show of naivety, in my opinion. But I do think that away from home, we're going to start to play a different system. I don't necessarily know if we're going to stay in the back three that Paul Warne tried at Sunderland. I think, obviously, against those tougher teams, I think maybe a back three is the right way to go. I think I spoke about that in my Sunderland preview, but I do also believe that if Derby County are going to go and win games, especially against those teams around us, we've got to go at them. I think the 4-2-3-1 that we've been playing at home, and obviously with Marcus Harness in the 10, was that against QPR, the most recent game? I think Harness was excellent, and I think if he could put on a performance like that away from home, then I think Derby County will have nothing to worry about. But I think the big problem is, I think away from home, I think we're a little bit timid, and I think sometimes it's more a case of trying to not necessarily keep ball, but trying not to concede rather than trying to score. And I think that's what's cost us in a couple of these games. I think at Blackburn we were too open. I think at Watford we were too closed in, too deep at times, which obviously opened the door for both of their goals. I think for Sheffield United, I think it was a bit of a 50-50 nothing game, really. I don't really think either team had any massive chances. Obviously, there was a couple of opportunities for like Kiefer Moore and things like that from a couple of mistakes. But on the grand scheme of things, I don't think either team created anything massive that was like, oh, they should have scored there. And it's one of those for me where I think we've had a couple of opportunities in games recently in the first minute or two of the game when we've had kickoff, and if we start taking those chances early doors, it completely changes the complexion of each game. I think the likes of Caden Jackson, Mendes Lang, Corey Blackett-Taylor are going to be absolutely massive in away performances, and I think that's what Derby County need on the pitch in those away games. I think we need pace, I think we need power, and I think we need speed on the pitch for those away games so we can hit teams on the counter. Now, you can obviously let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I will respond to every single one of you. Make sure you check out my other channels as well. There's obviously Lewis Talk Racing, Lewis Talk EFL, and Lewis Everett Plays. There's nothing on the Plays channel right now, but that will be coming soon. But there is videos starting to be dropped on those other channels, so make sure you go and check them out, and I'll catch you in my next video.